Welcome to Pandora's Box. This is the podcast where we talk about our favorite fandoms in terms of our thoughts, theories, opinions. We like to do a little production analysis as well as story dissection. My name is Tyler Garner, and I am joined, as always, by my friend and co-host, Christian Amante. Believe it. Yes, exactly as Christian said, we will be talking about Naruto again today.
Yes, sir.
In our last episode.
In a segment called Brokages.
Yes, our last episode, we actually broke into our new segment called the Brokages. That segment deals primarily, and right now, currently, Naruto exclusively. I think at some point we'll break into other animes.
Mm-hmm.
In the last episode, Christian built the world for us quite well. He created a very good structure. He talked about everything that happened up until literally the first episode of Naruto. So if you listen to that episode, you'll get a really great background into what happened that kind of led to the events that you will see on screen. You'll see what we talked about on screen, but it takes so long to get there. So many filler arcs.
And exactly. I saved a lot of what I could have gone into as well, because I mean that's just it's part of the fun of it, because that whole Madara, death, he plays such a huge role in Shippuden.
Yeah.
But and you see kind of the first seeds of that planted in that same era. But I wasn't going to get into
that.
No,
there were no deep dives.
No.
It was just a very broad stroke
surface
world
level.
building. Yeah, exactly. Which is what we wanted to do. What we're going to be doing this time is we're just going to be kind of going into some opinions that we have about Naruto as a whole. We're not going to go do this. Is not deep dive, so we're not lore building. We're not world building. This is just discussion, what Christian and I think about some certain topics that we kind of set up prior to. If you have any thoughts on what we should discuss next, or opinions that you have that you'd like us to bring up and discuss, we're happy to do that. But for right now, Christian, you see those topics, so pick one and I'll let you kind of start us off wherever you want to go.
And to add on to your conversation, when you give us suggestions, don't only do power scaling things. We're not going to talk about who would beat who in a fight. We would be here for centuries.
Oh my god. And that is such...
We'll be here for
Elementary.
years. Yeah. So, something that can be done in an episode, please. Let's see. Let's start it off with... Tyler, what's one of your favorite Konoha senseis, man?
Konoha senseis.
Well, we've had several generations at this point, because, we started off at the very beginning of the village in the last episode, all the way up until, nowadays it's all no holds barred. You can go all the way until Shippuden if you wanted.
Yeah, we're not gonna keep this exclusive to season 1 or Naruto first arc versus
that'd be too
Shippuden.
hard.
No. See, Kakashi is just like standard goat, But Jiraiya is also like a fucking flame. However, I have issues with him as a sensei in some regards. I think like one-on-one with Naruto, he actually he crushed it. Not to Konoha crush, he crushed it. But I think like where he taught like the rain.
Although he did have to save him from a criminal abduction with a woman on his back.
Sure.
Because he left Naruto in there to talk to women.
My favorite Konoha sensei.
We also have Hiruzen, Minato in the mix. You also got Asuma.
I was about to say Asuma. I think
Asuma's high.
I would say honestly, I think if you want to go like not generic, but like if you're looking at senseis in terms of how well they connect with their students, how well they taught them and developed them to a certain way, I think Asuma would take that cake absolutely. He knew exactly how to train each of his students, especially with the way that he taught Shikamaru. Like he couldn't really get to him with like the standard issue material for a student that a teacher would give, so he had to do different things to kind of test his IQ to show him essentially how smart he was, like with like the shogi, how they played shogi and stuff like that. That was so cool. And then he even like Naruto was like, "Oh, you have wind nature. How do I use this shit?" And he's like, "All right, yeah, I'll show you." It's just like, boom. Oh man, I think Asuma is probably my favorite Konoha sensei.
Yeah, because I think Asuma was one of the last great, probably the last great Sarutobi clan member.
Oh yeah.
Granted, he does have his kid with Kurenai that's in Boruto. I don't know anything about him though, if they're even any good. So I'm not gonna touch on that.
No.
But I would say Jiraiya.
Really?
Which is funny because I'm not actually a massive Jiraiya lover. That's not to say that I hate him in any regard. I'm just like everyone, in my opinion, everyone overhypes the fuck out of Jiraiya. Which here's the thing, Jiraiya is a goat. There is no denying. He is a goat, but people I'll be like, Jiraiya could have fucking beating Madara. I'm like, are you fucking insane?
Let's not do that.
Yeah, I'm like, chill, guys, chill. He's a great shinobi, a great ninja warrior, but please chill out. But Jiraiya is one of the best teachers because you have to remember he helped to train Minato, who iced a whole nation out of a fight essentially. He trained Naruto to learn his father's jutsu, which was the Rasengan. He taught a bunch of other ninja. He taught the Rain Trio, which if they didn't go down the path they went, they would have been amazing. And honestly, that it just turned out tragically. I love the Rain Trio. I have literal posters of all three of them. They're incredible.
I would dismiss him a little bit for that because not dismiss him, but I would get him for that because I think he should have done more. He did like essentially take responsibility, but he also like kind of how when Naruto was like left on his own, he left them alone.
Yeah,
like, kind of like spend themselves. I'm like, what the fuck kind of relationship is that? It's like, oh yeah, I'll come in, teach you some tricks, but then I'm just gonna fucking leave.
Yeah,
what the fuck is that?
He was one of those people that like he was like the last one in, first one out kind of situation. Yeah, I agree with that. When he was there, he had incredible insight and advice and training, but he wasn't the most what would you say, responsible.
Yeah, definitely.
Determined people for that.
Like he didn't take full responsibility. For them, which I think in that situation you should have. Like, why the fuck would you leave 3 kids to just kind of fend for themselves?
Yeah, and going into the village in the rain, that's something that I didn't bring up in the last episode actually, because I was so focused on all the other wars.
Yeah.
But during these wars, people who have seen Shippuden might know one of the best villains of all time, which is Pain. Amazing villain, beautifully written. It's kind of funny. There's still people to this day that thinks Pain was right. He makes a lot of sense when he gives that speech about, the village, about Konoha. Because Naruto's like, hey, you don't deserve to be doing this to the Leaf Village, man, in the name of peace. And he's just like, you literally did the same thing to my village in the name of peace. What are you talking about? And everyone's just like, oh shit, he's got a point.
Damn, he's right.
He's one of the only people that was almost not affected by Naruto's Talk No Jutsu, which is the strongest.
Called them on their bullshit.
Yeah, honestly. Actually, do you still have the PowerPoint up?
I can grab it 2 seconds.
Yeah, because the map that I wanted to show real quick will show where the village Hidden in the Rain is located. And once you see this, you'll start to realize a few things. See where the Village of the Rain is located?
Oh yeah, the Land of Rain.
Yeah, you can see it on the other map too. Yeah, it is dead center of 3 major countries.
It's right in the middle of.
And was always the battlefield for things. So people would come in with their problems and beat the shit out of people. And they had a tragic background. Those Rain Trio, they were all orphans.
Yeah.
From the war, I believe. When they grew up, even though they were great shinobi, they were trapped by an army basically. And one of them, just for fun or whatever, was just like, you kill the other person essentially. Like, you take this knife and kill them. That kind of situation. Pain's original body, Nagato, did it himself. Like, he had whoever else. Who was the I forget their true names because they go by Pain a lot. It was Conan, Nagato.
Oh yeah, and their leader, right? That died.
Guy? Oh dear, I don't remember. But the redhead.
Yahiko,
there it is. Yahiko. So Yahiko or Nagato kills Yahiko or whatever, or vice versa. What are the two? And so from there they create the Akatsuki symbol.
Yeah.
Because the red clouds represent the rain of blood that constantly poured in the village Hidden in the Rain because of all the fighting. They had an amazing arc, and I think Pain was justified in a lot of ways. In the way that he, went about peace and redemption was, to have everyone interpret peace. I'm not saying that he was the good guy at all, but I think he was a beautifully written villain.
Yeah.
Because he didn't.
Tragic villains.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those just like, I'm gonna beat you up. It's like, well, who the fuck cares? But he's just like, well, no, I have moral obligations to beat you up, and you're like, oh, well, let's hear this guy out.
Okay.
That kind
now
of.
That I know you're morally obligated to me.
Exactly. And Jiraiya did some good teaching, and I think that it was probably Jiraiya's teaching that made it so that they were redeemable in the end.
It was so fucked that he was the one that killed him. Spoiler.
It is, that is ironic, yeah. But, I mean, to be fair, there was no way they were going to succeed if Jiraiya was still around.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one, yeah. For a lot of people, including Tyler, I think that's probably one of the hardest scenes to watch in that whole.
That's where I stopped
show.
watching Shippuden.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I knew what was gonna happen.
A
Too.
lot of people cried. I didn't cry for that one. I cried for Itachi though. But for Jiraiya's, I was. Because here's the thing. I wasn't like I said before. Even though I think he's the best teacher and an absolute goat, as a character, I didn't think he had too much more to give. I think he gave all that he had, as the sensei. Because Naruto at that point was grown up. That he'd gone through all those trials and tribulations. Because the only other thing that Jiraiya would be doing is just dying of old age, watching a perverted video or something like. I don't know. I didn't know how much more he had to give to the situation.
Well, that was, I think, the really cool thing with Shippuden is it started to kill people off.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
You started to worry about people.
I think anime in general has a tough time doing that unless the plot revolves around people dying.
Yeah.
Because in the first season, who the fuck died? That was, I guess, Hiruzen. But like, who else really died? That
Yeah.
kind of like
in the first
whoa.
series, let's see, Hiruzen. It was mostly villains. And
Yeah.
They were mostly brought back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Shippuden, they're like,
Yeah,
no, people are gonna
like,
fucking die.
Bye bye Asuma. Bye
Oh
bye
my
Jiraiya. Bye bye
Yeah.
Itachi.
Yeah, like people,
Yeah.
like good people died.
Yeah. This is a mad.
Fucking Neji. Ah, dude.
Yeah. No. I haven't even seen that scene, by the way.
Nah, me neither.
Nah. Other than the deaths of numerous people. I just realized what you wrote for that. We talked a lot about in the last episode about the two prodigious clans that started Konoha,
Yeah.
which were the Senju and the Uchiha clan.
The goats on goats, yeah.
Yeah. We touched on towards the end very briefly, the whole Itachi killing his own clan in the name of peace,
Well,
which
when
is
you-
a recurring theme.
When you set up the history, which was great, it was like before you had the villages hidden wherever, it was clan versus clan, and each individual clan was hired out. So it was like at one point, or at some point, it turned into being like the Senju clan being one of the best, and the Uchiha clan being the best. So if you were a country hiring a village, you hire the best, and if you hire the Senju, then the clan or the village or the land that you were going against would hire the Uchiha. So it turned into some personal rivalry, which makes sense. But what my understanding, and like I'm seeing some sort of disconnect, is when the village of the Hidden in the Leaves was created by the starting clans were the Senju and the Uchiha. It seemed like there was just this perpetuating hateness towards the Uchiha as a whole, which I can understand against Madara because he was just he just wouldn't let it go.
No, yeah.
But why was there?
He had a lot of reasons to not let it go.
Understand?
He lost 4 siblings.
Yeah, but if he didn't want to do it, he should have just nutted up and stuck with okay, fine, I'm not gonna go for peace. Cause,
Yeah.
If it was not sitting with him well from the beginning, he shouldn't have been there. My question is, why were they so hateful against the Uchihas? Just even after the village was set up, why was there this disdain towards Uchiha? It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think one of the things, just to tack onto what you're saying, I think Madara was a man of his word. So when he was telling Hashirama, if you kill yourself or your brother, I'll do it, and he was actually going to do it, and he's like, okay, well,
fine,
I am a man of my word.
Makes sense.
I'll do that. I think one of the major kind of turning points for him was that he didn't think this was the way to peace by just making a village and pretending like the rest of the world was just fine. Because that it led to a bunch of different wars after that. Just because you make a village and say this is going to be the peaceful village, and then it'll end up being one of the most bloody warred
Well, yeah,
villages.
that was skewed. Because I think Hashirama was very much on his own with the whole peaceful intent kind of thing. It's we're a bunch of ninjas. We train to hurt people.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Hashirama is also one of the most powerful, but he has these great visions, but he doesn't really quite know how to execute them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's that's probably one of the only character faults of Hashirama, is the fact that he's a little too trusting of other people.
But that's my question. Is
Do the right
why
thing.
was there just this perpetuated hate towards the Uchiha clan, even by the other clans that were coming in? I guess I could understand the Senjus kind of having some residual hate towards them, but why did every other clan that came in just would pile on the shit against the Uchiha just throughout the years as the Konoha developed?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much hatred the Uchiha got from other entities. I think it was mostly the governmental factors, which were run predominantly by Senju, Sarutobi, and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a good question, because I
It
think
did get to a point where the Uchihas were planning on...
they're planning to overthrow the government.
Yeah.
I think that was probably building up to the fact that, they weren't being given their due. And Madara foresaw this right when it started, which was just like Hashirama being president when we're supposed to both be equal powers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only going to continue. And he predicted it too. He said, the next Hokage is going to be your brother. I can sense it already, which he was true. Tobirama became the second Hokage.
Mm-hmm.
They never once in the entire history of the Naruto universe, even now in Boruto, there's never once been an Uchiha Hokage. Which, if you think about it, they had good reason to want to overthrow the government.
Well, it'd be a little tough after what happened. Really a lot of them to.
Well, now, yeah, in Boruto it'd be really tough.
It's like your other option.
All you have is Sadara Uchiha, who has fucking glasses for her ocular jutsu.
Or Sasuke, who was not going to be a friend with fucking Hokage.
No. Yeah, I don't follow Boruto, man. That's a nightmare.
That aside, yeah, I mean, I have issues with that still.
Yeah.
I think they were just unfairly treated.
Yeah, I think so. And even so, because, I think one of the main fears that, Hiruzen had specifically was that, I mean, they were always viewed as the more violent of the two, just because, they're all angry, quote unquote. They weren't satisfied with the talks that had happened, and, Itachi's dad was the head of essentially the rebellion that was planning on overthrowing the government in the village. And that was part of, Itachi and Obito's main kind of realizations of this, and the reason why Itachi opted to kill his whole clan was the idea was, hey, if you do this revolution, it's not going to end well, because that means that we're going to be in the middle of a civil war.
Mm-hmm.
Other nations will be like, oh shit, these guys are weak as hell.
Yeah.
Let's go tackle them. Because remember, the peace was razor thin. Remember that when the Chunin exam happened, the fucking village hid in the sand just decides to jump them.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. And Gaara and them are chill later, but that wasn't the case in the beginning. They were using Gaara as a tail beast as a weapon.
Yeah.
They said, he's going to turn into one beast, and one tails rather, and he's going to start slapping buildings down. So there was tension all around this whole time.
It is pretty crazy to think about that. Like, while this shit's going on, there are some like serious tensions that were never like fully resolved.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They were really walking a tightrope for that whole first series of Naruto.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. In terms of the Uchiha overthrowing the government, I think that Itachi saw this as like, hey, we're going to be weak if this happens. Another great ninja war is going to happen. The village in the leaves is probably going to get wiped out. I've seen this happen before. I was a kid. I've had to kill a man with my bare hands when I was like not even 13. Like, you guys don't understand. I hate war and I hate this. I don't want this to happen. I'd rather kill all of you right now.
Isn't it crazy how like
make for a weak thing?
The most powerful goats are always the ones who are like, no, we need to not do this.
Yeah.
We're the best at doing this, and we don't want to do it.
I feel like that's also in real life too. Some of the best martial artists aren't the ones that ever start fights because they don't want to.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's just funny to think about, like that kind of that
dichotomy.
That dichotomy is hysterical.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah, but absolutely, you're right. Like, the more you learn, the more you experience with martial arts, the less you're like looking for a fight.
Yeah, and it comes full circle because Itachi didn't want to kill Sasuke, and then Sasuke ended up going to Orochimaru, which Itachi didn't want. So in reality, his one forgiveness ended up being the variable that almost destroyed the village when Sasuke wanted to come and kill it. You know what I mean?
Fucking Sasuke.
Ironic.
Dude, I fucking hate Sasuke.
Sasuke was a white canvas that was painted by every single person. Like, it took 2 seconds for him to change sides every 2 seconds.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is that? Like, he's like the over epitome of like an angsty teen.
Yeah, he's like all of the anger of Madara with none of the direction.
Yeah. Like, he doesn't even know.
You.
Yeah, because like you'd think his anger would just be focused as brother, but then it transcends to Naruto, and then it transcends to the village as a whole, and then it transcends to Orochimaru. It's like, dude, just pick somebody to be angry at, and then kill him, and then get over it.
Yeah.
That's what nobody else has a problem with it. Just get with the program.
And then he's like, I'm gonna kill you, Kakashi. And Kakashi's like,
what did I do? I taught you Chidori.
First off, no, you're not.
Yeah. 2 things wrong with that. 1, no.
And then, Sasuke's plot armor saved him so many times, too, because, especially during the fucking 5 Kage summit, where he would have a tough time beating a single one of those people, and he would save, like, twice by like White Zetsu and the rest of the squad. You know, because he had Karin. Because there's a famous video of like a lot of people voicing over like the Killer Bee fight with Sasuke, because Sasuke would have died twice if it weren't for his like OP teammates who are able to like revive him from practical death, you know, which is crazy for me to think about.
And then like Sakura was just, why was she so fucking enamored with this dude? Is that explained like at all?
No, but there was an old meme way back in the day where they matched it up with a fucking Family Guy episode. So it was Sasuke walking down the road or whatever, and he's like walking, and Sakura's like, "Oh, hi, Sasuke," and he's like, he turns around, he's like, "You're annoying," and she's like, "Sasuke," and then it goes to Shikamaru, who's voiced by Stewie randomly, and it's just like, "What the deuce? Why would she respond positively to such a negative comment?" Kuzi, do women like it when you treat them like crap? And then you see Kakashi, well, I don't know if you want to be that black and white about it. And then Shikamaru's like, "It is, isn't it?" God, those old Naruto parodies were some of the funniest things, man. I need to link you some of them. They were great.
Absolutely. But that's right. That scene happened where he looked at her and goes, "You're annoying."
You're annoying. None of that ever made any sense.
And then she like just looks for his approval even more. Like, what sort of fucking toxic shit?
To be fair, they are teenagers. You know what I mean? And they're not the best examples of logic.
How dare you make this logical?
But the last topic we got. Here is in hot or not.
I'm interested. I want to hear what you have to say, because I think you might be bringing in maybe more knowledge. Because I see, so I think with this one, the biggest beef is that Hiruzen didn't do as well as.
Oh, well, actually, before you get into that, let me preface this at first, because some people might not know the backstory of this, because this has been brewing for a little bit.
Sure.
But so Tyler doesn't mind Hiruzen. He thinks he's the third Hokage, cool guy. I actually, for some reason, I just hate Hiruzen.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just the
Dull
worst. Yeah, he's the worst of all the Hokages, and he's just not. It's just dumb. Well, we're gonna go into that right now.
So, what are your parameters? Worst by what means? Because he definitely had the power.
Yeah,
he was one of the few people that learned all the 5.
Yeah, he's one of the only 5 that learned, which is I think is funny because I always forget about fucking Mu.
Yeah.
Because, you know, all the others you see all the time. You know, you see...
Oh, by the way, there's, like, a hidden goat.
Yeah, you see all the first 3 Hokage. You see Orochimaru. That's fine. But then there's this random fucking stone ninja named Mu, of all things.
Yeah.
And the guy's just like, yeah, I like everybody. But I'm going to kill myself to kill the one dude I don't like.
It's a good thing you didn't hate more people.
Yeah, I know.
So, like, you think Hiruzen is the worst Hokage by what means? Simply how he ran the village, like.
He was not a good leader, in my opinion. If he was, you know, a proper leader, I feel like he could probably have maybe not talked the Uchihas out of like a revolt, because I think at that point it had already gotten too many things.
Past the point of no return.
Yeah, dominoes had affected one another, but I think he would have stopped it in its infancy, because Hiruzen's old as shit. You know? He's been that way since Naruto since Minato died. He's been Hokage.
Yeah, he was the 3rd Hokage.
Yeah.
The 4th Hokage died.
Before then, yeah,
then
exactly.
he was technically the 5th Hokage too.
Yeah, he was the 3rd.
He was re-elected.
Formally the 3rd, and then
which to me is like, to his credit, it's like not only did you become Hokage once, you were that good, but then when the 4th died, you were still the only person powerful enough to be the Hokage. Because like I don't know the mechanics that go into electing a Hokage, but
yeah. It's tough. It's always described as it's the most powerful ninja in the village, but that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You have to also agree to want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times Jiraiya was elected because he's one of the legendary Sannin, just like Orochimaru.
Sure.
And everyone, I mean, he's powerful as shit, and they would have wanted a Jiraiya to do it, but then, and they literally, the old people who like were helping, you know, be the intermediary between, you know, the land of fire and the actual village, they were like, dude, you should be Hokage. And he's like, I don't want to be Hokage.
Have you met me?
Let's fucking find Tsunade and make her Hokage. And they literally went on that arc to supposedly heal his friend, but he's like, oh well, now that you're here, can you be Hokage? And she's like, fuck you. But she ended up becoming 5th Hokage. But that's neither here nor there. I think that I don't think Hiruzen's a great leader, man, because he could have. I feel like he could have stopped the Uchihas from being so fucking angsty. It wasn't that hard of a problem, man.
Hashirama couldn't deal with it. Tobirama would have dealt with it a different way.
He would have killed the Uchiha
And he didn't
himself.
do anything about it.
Mm.
What makes you think Hiruzen was going to do something about it?
Well, you have to remember at this point, Madara is out of the picture,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have the most.
Madara was out of the picture since Hashirama.
Yeah.
Because Tobirama, when Tobirama became second Hokage, Madara
Well,
was.
Tobirama only furthered the strife between the Uchiha and the Senju. He hated the Uchiha.
Exactly.
He
So
killed Madara's little brother.
So my thinking with that would have been.
And was going to kill Madara.
Yeah, my thinking would have been he should have just either done what Itachi did. You know? So I don't know what Hiruzen would have done or could have done.
He was too neutral, in my opinion. Like, he just waited around for some shit to happen, which shit did happen. And then he didn't recognize his own pupil was masquerading in the tuning exams as the Kazekage. Like, that's one of your biggest political opponents, and you don't recognize them? And he's been sitting next to you this entire time. And then fucking Orochimaru lifts the hood. Oh, I'm your pupil. I've been talking to you this whole time, but somehow that's a difference. And so, like, that was another weird thing to me.
Well, also at that point, he's like 1,000 years old. He's not nearly as good.
He's always been 1,000 years old.
I understand that, but it's like he was old as fuck. And Orochimaru, to his credit, is uber powerful too. You know, to be at the point where he would have been considered for Hokage. So I don't know how much of that was like he was literally just hiding behind the hat. Like he would have had some kind of disguise if he was talking to him.
Yeah, he's always changing bodies. And
yeah, shit like that.
But let's see.
If it had been anybody else, if it had been like fucking Kabuto or some shit, I'm like, okay, come on. There's no way you didn't realize this fucking amateur was. But like Orochimaru, I'll give that to Orochimaru. Like, yeah, he'd pull that off.
Okay. There's also the example of him, because in the fight with the Nine Tails, you know, who is it that, you know, saves the day and sacrifices his life? The fourth Hokage. Which is like, that's all well and good, but like, and granted, Hiruzen did put up a fight against the Nine Tails, but, you know, if he was truly like if he was like Hashirama took down the Nine Tails in like 2 seconds.
Well, I don't think Hiruzen was nearly as good as Hashirama.
No, he was not. He was just a monkey. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean literally he channels the power of a monkey.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's another example I can use to bash on? Oh yeah, his treatment of fucking Naruto, the son of the fourth Hokage.
That I didn't understand.
He gave some spoiled milk. Dude, do you know...
He didn't give him spoiled milk, he let him drink spoiled milk.
I mean, do you know Kushina would have beat the absolute shit out of Hiruzen if she knew that her son was being treated this way. And, because here's the thing. Like, I get the fact that you want to hide his identity, because you don't want the other villages to know or whatever, I don't know, whatever his reasoning is.
Well, he was one of the few people that knew, or like the only person that knew Naruto had the Nine Tails, which is a pretty fucking big deal, I would think. Like, oh, by the way, this kid has a nuke.
But you probably wouldn't want to leave the kid with the nuke, like, by himself in this shitty-ass apartment, you know.
I wonder if that was
lead him to a path where he could probably break down and get angry and release more of it.
Well, there's that, but I'm wondering if that was more like to kind of keep him at arm's length so that way people didn't think there was anything special about him.
I think that was the prevailing theory.
You know, because I don't know if they had, like, what they did with other orphanages, but it'd be kind of weird to be like, how come you, like, took this kid under his wing so much? Because people didn't even know that he was the fourth Hokage's son, right? Yeah, which would have been a deal on itself. Like, that would have had a lot of questions. Because nobody knew these things, it would have created a lot of questions about why did the Hokage, like, keep this kid, like, under his wing so much? Because the Hokage is supposed to be, like, for everybody. It's tough. I mean, I definitely think the treatment could have been better, but especially with Naruto, I think it was very... I mean, I feel bad for Hiruzen because he had a lot of shit to deal with that, you know...
But he didn't deal with any of it.
Yeah! Like, very, very tough things to deal with, like, navigate. Like, he wasn't in a position to handle the Uchiha. I don't know anybody who came before him that would have been... Even, like, Minato. Minato was not responsible in the fucking slightest, I think, as a teacher. Like, I can understand him being...
Minato wasn't Hokage for very long, though.
Exactly. Who knows what would have, like, kind of damaged, because he just, like, he let his fucking pupils, like, kill themselves and die. Because he was too busy, like, doing whatever. Being the Flash. It's like shit like that. Like, I just feel bad for the dude. It's like, I mean, I can't say I would have been able to deal with the Uchiha bullshit either, in a way. or
There's
like
also, I mean, at the very minimum, he could have at least exposed, and done his best to try and expose Donzo's bullshit. Because I mean, that was going around the same time. It's tough, and I know we've actually had a brief argument before where your counterpoint was, how is he supposed to know everything that's going on in the intel if the intel's the opposite?
that, and I also knew, like, I think at the end of the day, he knew that Donzo, and I think everybody can agree that Donzo still had the best interest for Konoha, even though he was like a straight douche cannon.
Donzo was the most hated man in the entire
Yeah, I
Naruto-verse.
no disagree, but I think his intentions were always to keep Konoha like safe and like
I think his whole
preserved.
I disagree with that vigorously. I think Donzo only wanted power for himself, and he wanted to be ruling as like an emperor of the village. He wanted to.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree
himself.
that with him, but I still think like he had nothing against, like he wanted his village to be like preserved.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
I can't say that like he went about it in any good way, but I think at the end of the day he always had like
it was in his best interest to have the best interest of the village. Is what you're saying?
something like that. Yeah. It was very convoluted. It wasn't like Orochimaru, who was like straight evil for himself 100% all the time.
Yeah.
Donzo was just like straight douche cannon 100% all the time. But I still think he had like the interests of the village. Like he was going to wipe out the Uchihas because they were going to do the coup. Like he knew that, and he was going to take care of that. And like he went about certain things, like the experimentations of the kid, that was fucked. And I think that's when Hiruzen
He got all the eyeballs.
Yeah, Hiruzen put that shit to a stop when he found out about the experimentations, right? So.
Yeah, but those are all my grievances with Hiruzen. I just didn't think that he was the best. I mean, you got to admit the other Hokages, for the most part, are better than Hiruzen.
In certain ways, I think Hashirama was probably the best.
Probably the best. Yeah,
Tobirama was, I think, too belligerent and racist for his own good, the village's own good. He didn't seem like he progressed anything.
Yeah, he was an iron fist, but also against his own people.
Minato, I just feel like is just too irresponsible. He's kind of like a Jiraiya almost.
Not nearly. Well, he did say he was trained by Jiraiya a little bit.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but like he wasn't. I don't think he was responsible enough to be Hokage.
What are some examples of his lack of responsibility in terms of Hokage?
Well, Minato, he wasn't. Well, as you said, he wasn't Hokage long enough to see. But I'm just saying, as a person, he did not seem responsible enough to be dealing with that. He couldn't even take care of his fucking 3 kids,
Disciples.
Yeah, he couldn't even take care of them, and he wasn't even Hokage then. And it's like, I think he would have been better off as kind of like just a lone soldier. Like he's like kind of an ace up the sleeve. I don't think he should have been Hokage.
That's fair, but he did save the village where Hiruzen couldn't.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's more of a testament, I think, just to his natural powers.
And he's also one of the only people that can land a hit on Obito with his broken ass teleportation shit.
Yeah, he is no doubt GOAT Shinobi.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sure. I think as a Hokage, I wouldn't have wanted him as a Hokage.
Yeah, in terms of his leadership abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Hiruzen, I think Hiruzen just had a lot to deal with. I can't say he was the worst Hokage in terms of managing the village. I think he inherited a lot of problems, and then problems that came along, like with Naruto. I just didn't think he was. I mean, they're short of even Hashirama has his flaws as Hokage because he was just so like determined to see peace that he was like failing to see things. So I think all Hokages were super flawed. So I don't know. I can't say who was the worst.
When it comes to...
I think one of the best is honestly Tsunade. She was probably one of the best ones. I mean, obviously we see her the most in terms of like her actively keeping the village together and things of that nature.
And she did literally say to Madara, "I'm built different."
Yeah, so I could see her as probably being one of the best ones. The worst? I don't know. I think Tobirama, Hashirama, and I think Minato are probably in the running for worst. Just in terms of their overall responsibility or lack thereof that they took of their position.
I think Hashirama actually would probably be in the race for one of the best.
Well, Hiruzen, Tobirama, Minato running for the worst.
Oh, I thought you said Hashirama.
If I did, I apologize. Yeah. I meant Tobirama, Hiruzen, Minato for worst. Hashirama and Tsunade. I mean, I don't know much about Naruto's time as Hokage because in Boruto he's the Hokage.
Yeah, so in terms of, I guess one final question. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, that Hiruzen was actually able to convince the Uchihas to lay down their arms, and Itachi never had to kill the Uchihas, and we still had living Uchiha members. How do you think that would have shaped up in terms of the long terms with the all the Akatsuki's plans and all that stuff? Do you think the Uchiha would have made a difference Or would it have been kind of a similar situation?
The Uchihas as a whole, no. Itachi, yeah. Like him being with the village like the whole time from the get-go? Oh, yeah, absolutely. He would have been, I think he would have been in the same category as Minato, where like other villages see him and be like, no fucking way. Nope. Absolutely not. I'm not dealing with him. Because like I think with Minato, wasn't he like they put a what like run on site when you see him kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Like the other villagers, like if you see him, run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same thing would have happened with Itachi, where he would have turned into that.
Mm.
He also probably could have dismantled fucking Donzo's bullshit.
Probably.
Yeah, put a cap on that, no problem.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things. I mean, obviously, pretty much everything would be fucking different. Sasuke wouldn't be as much of a douche cannon.
Yeah. It'd be tough though. It'd be really tough because you could see all the positives. You could also see the potential negatives too, because not all things are quelled really, even with the Uchiha.
Because their biggest beef was that they just didn't have any say, and they were just kind of treated.
Yeah, they were just pushed to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that would need to have been a serious discussion. Because I think after Tobirama, it wasn't the Senju clan in charge anymore, so things could have potentially kind of cleared up. The air could have been cleared. I don't even know. Is the Senju clan? The Senju clan isn't even like around anymore at the time of the show.
Tsunade's still part of the Senju clan.
Is she?
Yeah, she's Hashirama's great granddaughter.
Well, I'm saying like as a clan, like we don't see them.
Not a whole lot of examples, I don't think. I think they're mostly just side characters.
Which is kind of crazy to think of, like this whole village of like whole clan of goats just.
Well, remember
off.
they were all well-rounded, shinobi, not necessarily Kekai Genkai,
And maybe when the villages started and the clans started like intermingling.
Yeah. What is one? Actually, I'll add one more question.
Sure.
This is just a fun one, just for funsies.
Absolutely.
If you could have one Kekkei Genkai clan be restored to prominence, which one would you want?
One Kekkei Genkai clan?
Yeah.
Well,
or one clan in general. It doesn't matter.
Well, what clans disappeared? Senju, Uchiha, Kiwimaru's clan. I don't know any other clans disappeared.
I'm not sure about the clans. I know a lot of Kekkei Genkai users dipped. Haku's clan, the Scorch Release clans. There's a couple others that are last users.
I would have liked to have seen the Senju clan just be more prominent. If they were still around, I would have liked them to be like they make up like the Anbu Black Ops. The majority of the Anbu Black Ops are Senju, or like they're like just the standard like guards for the village. It's like when they show up, I want them to be like commandos essentially for the village. I think that would have been so cool to have kept that going. Because they were made out to be such goats that the Uchihas, I think they were just too overpowered, way too overpowered.
I would want to see Kimimaru's clan restored because he had such a dope power.
Where was his village? Where were they from?
He was in a very obscure village that was just taken down by, I believe, I don't know if it was raiders or war parties or something like that. But he was the only survivor.
Because his whole clan had
Orochimaru.
Or his clan had that Kekkei Genkai, right?
In their bloodline, they didn't all have it though.
Yeah, like anything else.
Yeah, I think it's one of those rare genetic things, like having like 2 different colored eyes for him. Like it was very rare. That's why he was a gifted child, and that's really why Orochimaru was desperate to get his hands on him, because he was like, dude, this will be my next vassal. This will be my next body. Because if I have that Kekkei Genkai, I'll be like God. Unfortunately, Kimimaru fell victim to the Itachi curse, which is ninja cancer, yeah, out of fucking nowhere. And so Kimimaru was like, "Ah, shit."
I just find it so funny because the writer's like, "Oh shit, we just made this OP character.
Yeah.
Well, we got to give him cancer.
It really had to nerf
Nobody's gonna be able to kill him, so they got to kill themselves.
Had to nerf him too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have loved to see more of Kimimaru. We got to see a little bit when he was brought back to life, but only for an episode or so.
It just gets so confusing because they all have these names, and then in some instances the names mean something in terms of like the clans or like the powers that are associated with them, and then it's like they aren't there. Like Naruto Uzumaki, but yet isn't the Uzumaki clan like one of the more powerful clans or some shit like that, or at least was? And then it's like they don't exist, even though he runs around. I'm Naruto Uzumaki.
Naruto Uzumaki. Yeah, he's the sole survivor of the Kaguya clan.
The Kaguya clan.
Which are weird looking dudes.
Wasn't there like a smoke clan too? Or is there a smoke clan? A clan that would like turn into smoke or some shit?
Yeah, probably, honestly, yeah. The Kaguya clan is now an extinct clan known for their savage battle tactics and archaic values. Oh yeah, they were descendants of Kaguya.
The Kaguya?
The Kaguya. I had no idea.
Who's that?
She's she's the god. She's God, essentially. She's one of the people that created chakra. Yeah, she was the first chakra wielder on Earth. So a select few have inherited a derivative of her original ability to manipulate one's bone structures.
That's nuts. It's
Yeah.
fucking nuts.
Oh, so he's low-key royalty.
He's low-key a god.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into all that another time. But until then, Tyler, anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up this thoughts, theories, and opinion section of the Brokages?
Dude, I think I'm good, so I leave it open to you. I'm good. Honestly, I'm happy with this.
All right. Ushisaru tori I ne tatsu tori hitsuga. I'll get you on the fucking flip side.
Catch you next time.
We have the extra
Pandora's box. Oh shit.